You're there. Hey, I'm wondering if you're on your phone 3G instead of your Wi-Fi. Maybe that's the deal. Is you're not actually using your home Wi-Fi. It's dropping you.
Oh,
Oh, well, now he'll never know my theory.
well, it's probably right.
Yeah, that is true. Oh, I forgot to start you now.
Hey, John, are you on your phone Wi-Fi or are you on your home Wi-Fi?
He's having problems here.
Is due.
Um, all right. Well, we're just gonna wait for him to figure that out, and hopefully, he worked fine last week.
I'm working fine this week.
Yeah, yeah. You're actually working. It was my fault. Skype.
That's right. That's right. I'm on
I thought,
it.
I changed over to Skype because I thought it would be a lot clearer, and normally it is,
Skype, pretty good. Yeah.
but we seem to have issues. I've got issues. All right.
I think it's his Wi-Fi.
Yeah, it's probably, if he doesn't know, it's probably the Wi-Fi stuff for sure. That he probably has it on his 3G and not on his regular phone. So we're gonna give this a minute to get going, and we'll just have to put him in and out when he gets here. So how's work been for you, by the way?
It's always slow around January and February, but hey,
It,
that gives me time to do other things
it's
too.
really slow for this too. Like I could put out a story every single day and nothing would change online. For January and February, there's just it's hard to get people to. You would think they're like inside and they'd want to hang out, but it's hard. It's been a slow time for me.
I think they just don't want to engage. I think that's what it
Yeah,
is.
they're just like hiding out like hermits.
Yeah, like nobody wants to, everybody just or not meditates, hibernates, and that's what it is. And I feel like no matter what, this energy that we're feeling around us, and when everything is so low and so on and so forth, you're like, okay, how do I get out of this? How do I get myself up and motivated to do things? It's kind of tricky when you just want to sleep on the couch under a blanket.
Uh,
Like,
hey,
uh,
John, if you can hear me, we think that maybe your internet on your phone is. Oh, he keeps dropping out before I can even tell him the message. Oh, maybe I can type it to him.
type it. Type it to him.
Oh,
I keep. Can you hear
yeah,
me?
John.
Yeah,
We
John.
we
I keep getting kicked
we think
off.
you're using your phone's Wi-Fi instead of your house Wi-Fi. Are you on 3G instead of your Wi-Fi? Maybe you don't. You're accidentally using your phone
Uh,
Wi-Fi.
Okay, I'll go back and I'll
Make sure.
go through
Yeah,
my
go through.
signal, see
Go to
what's
your
going on.
settings.
Okay.
Make sure it's on your house Wi-Fi, and then try it again. I think you're dropping out because you don't have good Wi-Fi connection.
Okay, just keep.
Yeah,
I'll be
just
right
no
back.
problem. Well, people are still
Okay.
shuffling in slowly. It ain't no thing. Um, all right. Hey, Ben Jojo, what's up? And thanks for joining us, Unirage. And if you guys want to harass Dana before the show gets going, you feel free to say hi to her.
Hello, everyone. I can't see your comments. I will go back and look at
Do
them
you
though.
go back and watch?
I do. Well, I can't listen to myself for some reason. I don't know what that's about,
You
but
mute.
I like to read the comments and I like to listen to I don't know understand what it's about. Well, I probably do. I just don't want to admit what it's about. So, but I like to see what everybody else is doing and I like to see the comments and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, right on.
So I do go back. I mute myself though.
Um,
Although I feel like I have really great information to share though.
and that's it's really weird because I'll go back and look at my old stuff. I've been doing this for 9 years, and I swear it's like watching a different person. I don't even remember doing these stories. I'll look back and I'll be like, "What am I talking about? What? I look different. I sound different." It is really weird to watch yourself, and I don't really watch my own shows because I just don't have
No,
time.
yeah,
I mean to edit them I do if I have to edit, but other than that, no. Like
yeah, no, I totally agree.
I'm leaving these.
Good. I'm glad it's not just
I
me.
had this theory that you know, if I do come back next time around, if I choose to come in this life, that I'm going to have a huge archive that my next self can find, and it'll like accelerate his or her knowledge, because I know my next
That's
self is going to find this
pretty
huge
cool.
catalog of stuff I'm leaving behind. So that's my game plan.
Absolutely. Well, there's a little boy who found his murderer. He was 7 years old, and he was walking down the street, and he picked out this man and said, "You murdered me." And he showed the cops where the axe was that he was murdered with and where his body was. And this
What?
guy confessed. Yeah, and this was a past life story. It's if you look into past life stories, it's quite amazing. And I
Wow.
mean, of course, we can't pull for everything, but you know, when a 7 year old kid is, and there's a university who actually tests kids and about their past lives, and they're coming up with some very compelling research for sure. Like it's hard to deny when they can go back to their, you know, where they used to live and their neighbors and people that they used to know. It's really hard to kind of go, okay, well, how was that faked? So that's an interesting topic. So you never know, Taryn, you could come back and
I
find
really
yourself.
believe that I haven't decided if I'm going to come back in. I think you get a choice when you cross over. You decide if you want to come back in and where. And I'm not sure if I'm going to come back around again, but I think if I do, I'm going to find this knowledge. I'm going to be watching this, you know, 40 years from now. I'm going to find this huge archive of stuff and watch it and like accelerate what I know. But by then, you know, I think what we're talking about will be everyday talk that like little kids know at this point. It's amazing. I talked to my brother's kid, and he already understands like simulation theory and stuff like that. And he's 11. I'm like, what the hell? At 11, you know, I was trying to chase girls. I wasn't, you know, play with my dog.
At 11, you were trying to
Well, I
chase
liked girls
girls?
from a young age. They wouldn't let me chase them, but you know, I always liked girls. I think even in kindergarten, I had crushes on girls. It's just there.
Oh boy.
You know, it's in the blood. Hey, John, are you back? There you are.
Yeah, can you
Yeah,
hear
it
me?
actually looks a lot better too. I think you got your Wi-Fi fixed.
No, you know what I had to do? I had to shut my Wi-Fi off. So now I'm running on data. Something's wrong with my Wi-Fi signal right
It could be all those electronical blocking crystals and everything you have in the background.
now. Could be, could be.
Like you talked about. What was the stone you talked about the other day? Damn it, I forgot its name. With an
Right.
S. The
Shungite.
shungite, yeah, the shungite that you put all around your Wi-Fi. That might have something to do with it. Who knows?
It might.
Did a blog about it, John.
Say that again, sorry?
I did a blog about Shungite. It was interesting that we talked about that. I had to go and research that after we were done our conversation.
So what did you find out about it?
Oh, lots of things. Just more. Well, I had to buy some, of course, and there was just it helps in so many ways, and it kind of. I don't know. In a way, I think it has something to do with like a charcoal too, as well. It almost seems like a rock lava charcoal in some way. So, but I know charcoal can help in many ways. So, but lots of things. I wrote a blog about it.
Where are
Nice.
you,
Yeah.
Dana? Are you blogging on Facebook these days? Is that what you're doing? The psychic media. I forgot. Where do you blog at?
I do it right on my website.
The psychic median.
Dana, yep, Dana Jensen Psychic
Okay.
Medium. I do it right there. I blog a little bit and I put your videos on
Oh,
there,
right on.
and there's
Thanks.
lots of really cool things to buy and appointments to book. It's awesome. And you know what? I am so proud because I didn't hire anybody. I did this on my own, and it is quite a challenge for me to get through technology, as you all know. Anybody who knows me, technology and I are not exactly friends. So as I am, you know, going through it and I'm learning all of this stuff, I am so proud of what I can do. And my daughter's a very busy marketing agent, and she was telling me that my website looks great, and I have the thumbs up from her. So I'm just really proud of it, and I love doing this stuff. You can be creative, and when you're sitting in your house in the winter months, then you know you gotta be productive as well. So yeah, come on by.
Well, before we really dive into the show, make sure that you tell the people how to get to your website again, in case I forget, because I haven't been able to put it in the link. So just tell people online, and I'll try to put it in later.
Okay, sure. It's DanaJensenPsychicMedium.com, and also visit me at the Curious Psychic on Facebook, because we're having a great giveaway. So next Thursday, I'm giving away a crystal ball.
Ooh.
So, and it's a 5-inch crystal ball that you can actually like use. You can scry with it. You can learn how to scry with it. So it's gotten a lot of good response. And then the week after that, I'm giving away a free psychic reading as well. So we've been having fun here in February. I had to think of creative things to make people happy and you know, keep in the flow of good things to look forward to. So I thought a giveaway for the month of February every week would be a great idea. So pop by there. The Curious Psychic.
And John, before I forget, where can people find you?
I do mostly everything just on YouTube. So if anybody wants to find my YouTube channel, it's just John Wheeler. I have a website. It's called Earth Wizard Shop. So that's where I sell like my furniture and some of the wands. And I'm just getting into making ornaments for people, but I wanted to test it on myself for a long period of time before I give it to too many people.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that's the only two places that you can get a hold of me right now.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you, guys. And mods, if you can drop their links in the chat, I'd appreciate that. Okay, let's actually kick this show off. We waited for everybody to kind of skirt in here. Welcome to the Hippest Trip on Twitch. We are alive and full of jive. We are kicking and licking. We are getting ready to shake the ground and see what's going down. Because today we're talking about curses, and curses. Are they? Huh? Oh, you want to throw a rhyme in? Go ahead.
No, it was just dun dun dun, you know, for dramatic effect.
Okay. Oh, I mean, feel free to sling some jive talk. It's totally, you know, say when Dana screams, all the turkeys split the scene, because we're going to be talking about curses. And what I mean by curses is, are they real? And I'm going to start off by saying it is something that's been around in almost all ancient cultures. And when something's been around that long, it makes me wonder there has to be some legitimacy to it. I mean, I'm from an Italian family, so Italians are very superstitious of curses. They have you can do curses with your hands, which I'm not going to do on here, but or the Accio Diablo, where you give someone the evil eye, the eye of the devil. So Italians, like in Greeks and Hebrews, that seem to be like the Mediterranean, are really big on cursing people. So I would say I've never used a curse on someone, but I think it probably is real. But I'm going to throw it over to the experts. So, ladies first, Dana, why don't you start? Are curses real?
Well, I'm going to have to weigh on the side of yes, without, you know, going too far down a rabbit hole. I feel like the intention that somebody puts on someone can create an outcome, even if it's a supernatural outcome. So I've heard so many stories over the years. I've heard so many different sort of experiences from people. I mean, some crazy stuff that's happened. I used to work with this one young lady who was practicing Wiccan. She was right into that, and we were talking, and I mean, I had kids. I wasn't practicing too much then, but I found it interesting what she was talking about. But she wanted to curse her boyfriend's mistress and make her so she couldn't speak. So she wanted to do this curse or this spell on her to affect her mouth. And she's standing there talking to me, and she's just jaded. Obviously, her boyfriend's fooling around on her, and she wants to stop it. But she's talking about doing this, and apparently, and I can't exactly remember the whole story, but apparently something did happen to this young girl, and something happened to her mouth, and she ended up having to have an operation. And I thought, oh my gosh, you know, you have created this for her. And, you know, we had that conversation about no matter what you put out there, good nor bad, will come back on you threefold. So I kept trying to say to her, you're doing this to somebody, but what is the opposite and equal reaction that's going to come back to you because of what you're inflicting on somebody else? So it's very important to understand the intentions. I've had people tell me that, you know, there's just flies coming through windows. This one woman I knew, her husband verbally abused her and wished she was dead. He would say it all the time. She finally left him. A month after she left him, he died. He had been wishing her dead for years and years and years. And a month after she finally got away, he died. So what is the intention? Is it a curse? Is there, can you sit in the corner with your little candles and herbs and widgets? I kind of believe you can. And I believe that the intention can come on you one way or another, for sure.
What about you, John? Do you have an opinion on curses?
Yeah, I'm in same alignment with Dana. I think the same way. It's kind of a funny thing because you also got to add in the aspect of free will and karma. Because how do you go beyond affecting someone's free will because they don't want to be sick or they don't want to have curse? That's why it's a funny area when you talk about curses. I believe very well it could happen because, and also if you think about it, if you're a creator of your own reality, then why wouldn't curses work? Because if you put your consciousness out and have a thought out, and whether it's negative or positive, there's going to be some kind of momentum energy behind it. So I can see curses being real, but it can go really deep when you think about how you affect someone's free will, and then what's the backlash energy from that when you do that. Like, I wonder if the people that create curses, do they think about what could happen to them when they do? Like, I wonder if they cross their mind.
Maybe they understand how to protect themselves, so it can't come back on them.
That you could very well be right, Dana. That could exactly be what it is. I know my personal self, I've never done it, and I wouldn't dare do that. I can't imagine why you would want to put a curse on somebody. That, to me, is the wrong thing to do. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I want to chime in with my 2 cents on this because back when I used to live in Savannah, I knew a guy that was a real straight shooter. He was like an economics guy. And he told me in confidence one time that he was getting into hoodoo and he was cursing like his boss. And that his boss got really, really sick. And he was like, holy cow, this stuff works. And the stuff he was doing started working. And he said that every time he did it, there was a price attached. That he would start to see shadow figures, demons, hear voices that made him, like he said, the more he did it, the darker and crazier his life got, and he just went cold turkey and stopped because it scared the absolute jeebies out of him. So I mean, this was a pretty straight shooter guy, and I believe him. I don't know why he'd lie about that, but I do think, if you're using negative energy to hit people down, how could it not come back? I mean, you're dealing with dark energy, you know.
For sure. For sure. And just to let you know, I kind of like to add a little tagline. I had a client one time call me that she had been talking to this psychic reader in the States. And by the end of this whole journey with this woman that she found in the States, it ended up costing her $50,000 because this reader convinced this woman that she was completely cursed and it was going to cost all of this money to rid her of this curse. And she ended up being out 50,000. If you're ever going to a reader and they're telling you that they can lift a curse for this money or that money, just stay clear. It is not true. It is not. This is totally a scam. Even saying this, sometimes I think, how naive could we really be? But it does happen. These people are unbelievable, and they're out to hurt you and steal from you, and they know very well how to do it. And they know how to pick your emotions. I'm not saying they don't have abilities, but they're going to find exactly what to say to totally scam you out of whatever they think that you deserve. So just be very, very cautious of this. Don't fall for it. If you're going to a reader, you're going for the information. That's why you're going, not to relieve curses. If you want to book another appointment to figure out how to protect yourself better energetically, then it's just another appointment. It's not thousands of dollars to release a curse. So I thought that would be important to put out there, because I've heard it a few times.
I think also, yeah, I was from Savannah, like I said, and it's kind of like New Orleans, where there is an underground industry of people who do voodoo and hoodoo and stuff like that, and they make their money scaring the bejeebies out of people, saying, "We will curse you, and for the right price, I'll take it off," or "You've been cursed, and only I can take it off." Uh,
That's terrible. It's terrible. And people fall for it and they allow it to happen. And it's like, and then they believe it, which actually amps it right up. They believe there's power behind it, and that absolutely solidifies it. So we have to be aware that we are the attractor of whatever it is that we want in our life. And if we want to be cursed, we can attract that too. You can feel a psychic attack though sometimes, and that's not necessarily a curse. That's more of an energy of somebody who's trying to maybe harm your business, or maybe there's other people out there who don't wish you as well as you wish yourself. So they'll send you a negative energy too, and I wonder if that's not kind of like a curse.
Yeah, I think there's two other kind of curses too, because they say there's family curses where, like, maybe someone in your family got cursed, they say, and it follows your bloodline. If you don't ever fix that curse, it's just what I hear. And there's also items that are supposedly cursed, like ancient items that kings and queens have had. And every single time a king and queen would get a hold of this amulet or this ruby, they would go through death or something would happen, and they can tie it all the way back. Like, this item caused so many problems, so many families. So that's funny too. Like, how does an item hold the energy of a curse and get passed down through people? It's really interesting things to think about.
It's like the poor Kennedy family. If you look into their history, they believe they're cursed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious because I'd like to maybe address that a little better. Of why are some items cursed, and can there be cursed, and can someone be strong enough to cause a curse? Like, can you cause a curse on someone? I do believe that you can be psychically attacked. I do believe you can be an object of people trying to send you bad mojo or energy or karma, whatever you believe, because I've felt that happen, and you definitely, to me, that's real. So maybe taking a curse is just a way to transfer that bad energy into an item to store it for a better time. I don't know. You guys are, I'm just taking guesses.
If you talk, sometimes you can actually like hold a piece of jewelry or hold an item, and you can psychically connect to it and see the maker. When I'll hold a ring, sometimes I can actually see the jewelry maker making the jewelry, or the person who's wearing it. It's called psychometry. So it will hold the energy, and sometimes you can even see the item's journey, if it had to go overseas or it was packed away in an attic or what have you. And you can see this throughout the time. It holds the energy. So yeah, I think that would make sense if you have these items. Sometimes, I have this really cool stitching horse in my house that my mom gave to me. And sometimes when I'm just sitting there, I'll look over the corner of my eye and I can see an old Italian shoemaker sitting there making leather bits on his stitching horse. And it's a true stitching horse. They did it you put it together. I can't show you right now, but you put it together and you put the leather in it, and you're able to hold it so you can stitch up the leather properly. And I can see this little Italian man stitching there, making shoes or whatever it is that he's doing. And this thing is probably about 250 years old by the looks of it. So I don't know. I think it can hold energy. So if it's negative energy or positive energy, then, it's still going to be in the object, and it's going to come on you as well, because it's in your environment. So can you smudge it and help clear the energy? Absolutely. I do it all the time. So, there is ways to deflect it as it's coming your way. Even doing your show, Taryn, there's a lot of people who are dead against psychic mediums, and they think that I work with the devil and the whole bit. And that's in a way a psychic attack as well. But, I just have to stand strong. I have to know where I am. I have to know who I am, and then that can't affect me. But I do see it. I don't know if it really does. I keep doing my job and keep doing what I need to do, but it definitely does throw out a negative connotation and energy towards me. For sure.
There's a comment here directed, I think, for you that says, Tripwire says, I've heard jewelry can be used to secretly draw energy from you. These items are sold to tourists. And then someone else agreed that that's what they think happens in New Orleans, disco stuff. So I don't know. Do you guys think that stuff can actually be made to draw energy out of you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's all energy.
I don't see why a psychic vampire type person that might not even be totally aware of it could make items, and it could attract the energy off the people through the auric field, and then they can, through energy work, attract the energy to them. I've heard of this before. I believe this could absolutely be true, that people actually do that. They'll sell jewelry and then put the energy or the consciousness into the jewelry. And then when someone wears it, it's sucking their life force out of them. And then them, through space and time, can take that energy and basically eat it, ingest it. I totally think that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what... Yeah, that's an interesting curse, too, because that would make a lot more sense. Why? Because I was thinking, why would people be motivated to screw with strangers and curse them? But if you could draw their energy to you and use them as batteries, why not? It's like putting a virus on a computer out there, so it sends things to you. It's like the same idea, but a psychic virus.
If you could imagine, if you're a negative person, you're constantly trying to mess with people or take people's energy, you're going to be a lower energy being. So you're going to have to suck the energy from people. And you're especially going to want to suck it from high energy people. So you're going to want to make jewelry or deal with crystals, because most likely it's going to be high, exciting people that want crystals and jewelry. They're the perfect target. So why not target people that like flashy jewelry, having fun? So I think that's totally true.
So how would you, John, protect yourself? If you go buy a piece of jewelry you really like, is there something you can do to make sure the energy's wiped clean, or the intent?
Well, yeah, I would smudge it, just like Dana says. I think smudging is one of the by far best things you can do, because it not only does it clean the bacteria around it, but it if it has any negative energy with it, it'll release it. It'll help release any negative energy. I've had a lot of success smudging. I've smudged people's houses, and I've seen crazy things happen. But I think as far as protecting yourself is also calling out for help. If you feel like you're being psychically attacked by an item, find that item, smudge it, leave it in the sun, put crystals around it. There's actually many ways. Put it in the ground. If you put a piece of jewelry has negative psychic energy around it, put it around a tree and thank Gaia for cleaning it out for you. Thank Mother Nature for taking that negative energy and filtering it through her beautiful body. That's, if you just have great gratitude and thank it for healing your item, you'd be shocked in what it does. I'm blown away by nature. Nature can do so many things that people don't realize, because so many people are so disconnected from nature. It's really unfortunate.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, because, all right, I'm holding a smudging stick. I have not burnt this thing because I've been meaning to, and I don't know really how to smudge. I was like, oh, maybe I'll figure it out one day. But I bought it. How come something like burning sage has a way to affect psychic energy? How does something like, putting stuff in the ground, rituals, how can they act of physical, looking at this for someone that's a skeptic would be like, okay, so you're burning some plants. How is that affecting stuff? So help us out.
Do you want to
go ahead, John?
Well, if you think about it, why do you think it's specifically sage and not grass or not leaves? Because sage specifically has certain, I don't know the exact science term, but it has certain bacteria and certain things in it that when you burn it, you actually, if you research what happens to an area when you burn sage around it, they can test the bacteria and whatever's in the air, and it kills 99% of bacteria. So
Absolutely.
you can actually, yeah, you can scientifically see the science behind it. So that's not even looking at energy work. And then on an energetic level, if you were to take sage, okay, and you go to an area that's, you feel negative vibes about it, and you go to another area that you feel really happy at. If you were burn the sage at the negative area, you'll see massive amounts of dark smoke. It'll be bizarre. It'll look like it's smoking like more than it should be able to. And if you go hold it up to a very positive area, it won't even really smoke. You won't barely get anything off of it because it doesn't need to clean the energy of it. You can test it for yourself. You go around different areas. You go to a cemetery and burn it. Oh, you can have so much smoke it blow your mind. Then you go to a metaphysical store and it won't barely smoke. Like anybody can test this.
And you can do it with yourself too. If you smudge yourself, if the smoke is actually drifting away from you, that's usually a good sign. If it's coming towards you and billowing, there's energetic blocks that need the smoke to help purify it and move it away. So natives have been doing it, and Taryn, you even said at the beginning of the show you love things that have been around for thousands of years, and you know the natives have been doing it for well over 5,000 years. So there is something that, but you can do sweetgrass, you can do wood burning, you can even burn bay leaves in your house. There's so many things that you can do just to shift the energy. So it's really important to do that, and always make sure you get it in the corners. Any of the corners that are in your house is where all the negativity sits. It comes to a point and it all sits there. So just go from each room and making sure that we're billowing the smoke in the corners to help release that. And usually what I say is start in the basement and work your way up to the top floor.
So how do you think these cultures figured this stuff out? Originally, these negative cultures, I'm trying to figure out, how did they figure it out in the first place? Like, who was the first guy to burn sage, or, you know, who was, I have no idea.
Somebody very in tune with how they feel. You know, if it's somebody who was very in tune with, you know, the elements that changed in their environment because they did this process. And if they could, you know, start paying attention to the differences that it was making, the more they did it, then they were just probably understanding it that way. That's what I think anyway. How do you know until you try it?
You think they like just randomly stumbled on it and said, okay, hey, burning this place feels better? Or do you think this was like given to someone from above, that they just got this knowledge and said, hey, my higher self told me to burn this? You know, I mean,
all part and parcel. I think it happens like that no matter what. We may think it's just something simple that, oh, it just happenstance that this is burning and it's making the environment feel better. But I actually believe that, you know, we do get these inspirational moments where, you know, we're told what to do to make our environment better, and we just have to be, you know, simple enough or relaxed enough or in tuned enough to receive it and to follow through on it. There's lots of times I get lots of inspirational things to do, and I just kind of pass it off because I'm too busy doing this, that, and the other. But if I were to sit down and listen to what I should be doing, you know, from the higher self of me, I'd be amazed at what I could, if I listened to everything.
I can tell you something I do that I believe ancient shamans and ancient native tribes did, was they do things like vision quests. So they're like, you know, so they'll put themselves in a very deep state of mind and they'll try to vision out, okay, what kind of plant can heal me at this time? Or what's an herb that would benefit me for what I'm going through? So I think it could have very well been vision quests that find it out. And also could have been things like psychedelic experiences, because there's lots of ancient studies showing that they were into magic mushrooms and DMT. So they could have had lots of experiences that led them to that. I think it could have been many ways that they could have found out. Now you got to figure they found all of these ancient herbs that were healing them and all this stuff. So it could have been intuitive. It could have been vision quests, psychic experiences. All these combined figured this stuff out over time, I feel.
a lot of people used to, they think that back in the day, shamans were much more aware, or healers, or connected people, whatever your flavor, religious people, they were much more aware of the beyond. They saw it, they interacted in it, um, and so it makes me wonder what happened. What happened to us where we're so disconnected now? Why don't you guys figure take a stab at that? Because if it's true that we were very connected back in the day, why is it so hard to connect now for people?
Religion.
But
All right, who wants to take it?
go ahead.
Religion. I think it's religion. I think religion moved it in a direction that they wanted it to go. And that's what I think happened there. So we lost sense of our own spiritual connection to follow community or to follow the church because they knew better than we did. And we lost sight of just our own self-awareness. That's truly what I think happened. I don't know. What do you think, John?
I look at it a little bit different angle. What I feel is that before the last ice age, the Milky Way galaxy was in a funny part of space. That we were in a higher energy field. I don't know. I think I might have mentioned this before, where if you go on the NASA site, NASA will say that we're going through a funny radiation belt. They don't understand what it is. So what if it's possible? I'm not saying this what it is. I'm just putting this out there as a possibility because I don't really know. I don't think anyone really knows. So I'm saying a possibility could be that if it's true that the Milky Way galaxy is in a certain elliptical orbit, so every time it gets to certain points, we become very advanced. That's when we built the pyramids, all these ancient sites, and then as we moved into a lower energy field, and it could just be for experience. For all we know, we could choose this. We might have known this before coming here, that we go through different energy stages. And right now we're flowing into that high energy stage. And that's why we're really getting really intelligent again. A lot of psychics are coming and crazy advanced kids are coming. Like it could very well be something deeper energetically that we don't really understand yet. I don't really know. It's a tough one.
Yeah, I think probably, if you want to control a society, the best way to do it is to take away people's self-empowerment. Like if you're connected to the other side all the time, you have a much different view on a politician getting you to go to war. You have a much different view on, killing your neighbor, fighting with your neighbor, stealing from your neighbor. All that stuff is, when you realize, we're all connected, and it's like stealing from yourself or shooting yourself. It's very hard to be manipulated. So either people did it on purpose, or it was just a benefit, a nice side effect that to disconnect and allow things like religion to control people or governments to control people.
Well, I think religion and governments are in bed together. And I think they each have a certain role, but I don't know. I feel like we're shut down, and I feel like we're shut down in lots of ways. And it's not, from the water to calcifying our pineal gland to, I think they want to shut it down because we are magical. Like we are unbelievable, the things that we can do. And, psychic abilities, everybody has a pineal gland. And if you have your government or your religion trying to shut that down on you, I'm very offended by it. But how do you allow your imagination to thrive, and where do the creations come then if that's what's happening? So I don't know. That's a bit of a conspiracy, but it seems to have some validity as well when you look at it. I don't know.
One more little thing I want to add, though, just to think about. This is what really gets me, though. Like, I've been in architecture for a long time. I just love old buildings and how people used to build things back in the day. And when you look at the pyramids, you look at, certain ancient sites, scientists to this day still can't understand how they built it or how they got rocks up that high, massive monolithic stones. So at one time, I think we might have been way more advanced than we are now, but nature advanced. So we maybe understood the laws of nature more, and we were more connected to ourselves because maybe we were a more loving society, and we helped people advance each other. Like, we're not like that now, but maybe in the far past, before the last ice age, if this is real, that we were just way more advanced spiritually, energetically, and we understand the laws of universe and earthly energies, and we knew how to manipulate them. It's very possible because they knew things, and they had astrology that they didn't even have telescopes, and they built massive monoliths before we even supposedly invented the wheel. We didn't even have supposedly tools back then. So I don't know. To me, we're being completely lied to. I think they know way more than what they're telling us, and I think we're going to be discovering some stuff that's going to blow our minds soon. I really
I'd say.
Well, John, do you
How did we get off curses? By the way?
I don't. We're gonna get back to it. We're talking about energy. All right, let's go back to curses. But I want to throw this one last question out there. There was a time where there was, like you were saying, there was hints that there was so much technology, maybe nature-oriented technology, but ways to move large stones, way to make things, ways to heal people. People lived very long lives. Like it sounds like a whole different time, but there's also all these hints that the population was much larger than people said. And my big question is, like, where did these societies go? Because all of a sudden these evolved societies just disappear. And is it one of these things that they evolved into the next stage, or did they go to another dimension and vibrate out of here? Did they, where the hell did everybody go? Or was it some other, I don't know, aliens or realities or force, like some reason people are gone and that knowledge is gone and it's got to be delivered. I mean, I can't imagine that all this would just be forgotten. I don't know.
Maybe they went to different land to start civilization in another sector.
Okay, let me throw this out to you. Okay, if you research ancient sites found under the ocean, it's mind-blowing how many pyramid sites they found anywhere from 150 to 300 feet under the ocean. Okay, when they did the scientific calculations, they say that our oceans have risen over 300 feet after the last ice age. So we've had coastal cities all around the planet, you can research it, that they say that when we had coastal cities everywhere around the planet when the ocean was 300 feet lower. So you not think it's possible that we had extremely advanced societies before the last ice age? And then when the ice age happened, maybe we had a pole shift, instantly froze everybody, because they found kilometers and kilometers of fields with instant frozen mammals. Sorry, I can't remember what they're called, mammoths. They found tons of animals frozen in time, like it was a flash freeze. So I really feel like we lost all these societies because of the ice age. It could have been a pole shift. It might be an asteroid, and all the particles stayed up in the stratosphere for 1,000 years, and there's no sun. It could have been many things.
Yeah, there's some sort of history because, they found like these giant cave systems in Turkey that could hold thousands of people, and there's always talk in cultures that people went underground for a while, and so maybe that knowledge just got lost when everybody got wiped out and everything got wiped out. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure.
So, but when did they say the ice age was, though?
10,000 years ago.
When did they say that happened?
Yeah. Well, they said it was 10,000 years ago, and then we had 1,000 years of ice, and then 9,000 years ago is when it started melting. So we had about 2,000 or 3,000 years of melt, and then that's when civilization started arising again. But religion will tell you we've only been here for 5,000 years or whatever.
7,000. I think they said
it depends on which religion.
7,000 years.
It's ridiculous.
Well, that would make sense, though, John. No, that would make sense, though, John. If you think about it, where the ice age was 10,000 years ago, and then we had all of those the time where it was just ice. If they're saying civilization started 7,000 years ago, that almost makes sense in the idea of the Bible saying it started 7,000 years ago. If it restarted, if we were coming out of an ice age.
Restarted, yes, I agree with that. If the Bible said, listen, civilization re-risen after the last ice age, then I'd be like, yeah, Bible's right. Yeah, that's what happened.
Well,
but that's not
so the Bible. I mean, I'm not a Bible scholar, but they do mention that there was a society before Adam and Eve, the Canaanites and all these people existed, and they just kind of like blow right over that. And then, so I mean, even Bible folk will
Isn't
be
that
like,
what it
yeah, you know, who are the Canaanites? If you ask them, they'll be like, oh, well, yeah, that existed, but I don't want to talk about that. Let's talk about that we started life, 5,000 years ago. So they, there's evidence that other cultures existed. I think.
Well, just like Atlanteans, what about Atlantis? Plato talked about that, and his dates were 12,000 years ago. And now the new science on the pyramids, especially the Sphinx, because you can see like water trace lines. And they said when they actually really do the science behind it, that Sphinx could have been built 24,000 years ago. There's lots of science documentation on now. They actually think the Sphinx was built before the pyramids. That was the start of that civilization. If you research it, there's tons of documentation on it now. It's way older than what we thought.
Oh yeah, they're starting to find out almost everything they find is way older than they thought. I don't know. The guy that does the Ubuntu talks, Michael Tellinger, I think his name is.
Michael Tellinger.
He talks about these rings all over Africa that he thinks were used to help mine gold, and that they're like 50,000 to 100,000 years old, because these rings are put in place, but the decay on them and the formation of minerals on top of them take at least 50,000 or 100,000 years. So in other words, like someone would make a monument, cut a stone, and there would be this this plaque all over this stone that takes so many years to form. So that was that shows that they were able to cut and form stones way before 100,000 years before we existed or something. So obviously there's a lot we're not being told.
No beginning and no end.
Yeah.
It just keeps recycling.
I agree. This is a fun classroom. So let's get back to the curses. I'm sorry, guys. I got away from it. Since I got two Canadians, we got to talk about the Curse of Oak Island. Right? Did you guys watch Oak Island, that show, The Curse of Oak Island? How everything they do is cursed. I mean, watching that show, it has been like 5 years of teasing. Oh, they get so close, and then spend millions of dollars. They bring up like a hinge of a box, or like a broken little bone,
piece of wood,
or a little pimp.
Yeah.
I love the show, but oh my God, is it a tease? Like, it is this going on. So, John, since you got it, people were bringing it up in the chat. You got to address Oak Island.
Yeah, that's a wicked show. I've actually, since that show aired, I want to go there. I haven't had the opportunity yet, but I'm gonna make it there. And I'm pretty fascinated by it too, because the old coins they found there, and it's pretty fascinating place. Now the curse about the I think it was the 7 people have to die before they find it. Is that what they said? I think that's what it is, right?
I don't know where that curse comes from, but they sure throw it out there a lot.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It's fascinating.
So 7 people in the crew have to die before they can get.
7 people over time. So 6 people have died since people started searching for it, maybe 300 or 400 years ago. I don't know exactly what it was.
It's 6 people actually working on it. Like the shafts collapsed and killed them, and when they were digging for it, it wasn't just like 6 people connected to the island. They were actually they were in the money shaft when they died.
Yeah.
So one more person has to die, and then it's revealed.
That's the game plan. But there's people.
But
there's people dying on that show left and right. So I don't know. Like the little kid died this year, and the old man died, Fred Nolan, and all these people connected with it. It's a tease, but they're starting to like dig up real stuff now. So, oh my God, they just drag it out.
Supposed to leave it alone.
I don't know. They put a lot of money, and it's like the greatest mystery ever for a treasure hunt. It's wild. think what's down there.
Especially like how far down. Like I can't imagine hundreds of years ago they were able to dig like 180 feet down like that.
In a
You know what I mean?
water. Yeah, with water.
It's unbelievable.
How do you do that?
It blows my mind when I watch this show. I can't imagine the work it must have took with whatever tools they had. Landing there on a ship. Okay, let's pick this island. Let's bury treasure almost 200 feet under the ground, and have all these trap doors.
Can you tell me who buried it? Like what's the treasure they're wanting to find?
You know, I don't think anyone entirely knows or speculating. I don't know. I don't think anybody truly knows.
Yeah,
where'd the history
the theories
come from?
change every week because they originally think it was the Knights Templar's hidden stash, but then they found some stuff thinking it was Sir Francis Bacon because, you know, he's the one that actually wrote the Shakespeare. Shakespeare never really wrote his own stuff. Francis Bacon wrote it, and so they think the original manuscripts. They're like finding pieces of manuscript down there, and then they also find pirate treasure from like the 1700s. So they think this island's been used multiple times throughout history as treasure stashes because they're finding treasures from all different time periods. And then last week they found a lead cross from like the 1200s. You know, so it's crazy.
Doesn't this just feel a little too, I don't know, opportuned, or isn't it just all of a sudden they're finding all of these treasures?
No, it's not all of a sudden because they've been losing money hand over fist trying to do this, and they're like in a long line of people who have failed. People have failed for like 150 years, but these guys, the technology has finally got to the point where they can use like super fancy radar to find stuff, you know, where that stuff didn't exist in the 50s and 60s. So,
yeah, something doesn't seem right about this, though, and this is just my second vibe going on, but something doesn't seem right about this.
You think some of it's just staged for the show?
Absolutely. It totally feels that way. If they're looking for more money and it's costing them millions of dollars to do this, obviously they need people to fund them. So they're finding these, I don't know, opportune crosses that look old and ancient, and I don't know. Something's not. I haven't seen the show, so maybe
you probably got to watch it because it takes like 7 years for them to find one cross. I mean, it's not like they just started up and they find a bunch of stuff. This show has been dragging for years.
Oh.
Yeah, and it is, and it's real. There's documentation showing people all the way from the early 1800s trying to find treasure there. Way before anybody would be on TV trying to show who they are.
Every time they get close, something like collapses, or something fills up with the water, or something blows up. The damn thing's cursed, for sure. I believe it. Nothing goes right on that show. You might have to then come back and give us your vibe on it, because it's
all right. Well, my vibe on it right now is there's something not right about it, but we'll have to check it out.
I'm sure part of it is, it's a show, so they're going to stage it and edit it to make it more interesting.
We're not contrived on the Dr. Tarrant show.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my show. I have no budget, so you guys don't be looking for your big money paychecks. I could give you like a stone or something.
Yay. I'll have a stone. I like collecting them. You have enough stones, John.
I know you guys are.
Yeah, I'm sure I can give every single person watching the show a stone or a crystal if they'd like. I got
crystal hoarders. Crystal hoarders.
Yeah.
So let's talk about. All right, we talked about the first part, which we all kind of in our agreement. And that's not a big surprise that curses exist, because I do feel that you can put negative energy into objects, you can put negative energy into people, but there's a high price that energy is going to come back in one way or another. It might not be you, but it could be someone you love. I mean, and people always say, they misuse it, but the karma term, that when you live a bad energy, that's what happens. So how do you protect yourself, and how do you get rid of it? If you think you have a curse and you're pretty sure, let's start with Dana. Where would you start on removing one?
Oh, well, definitely start with the smudging. Carrying your crystals and your rocks is a good thing. Praying and meditating. There's so many things that you can do, and it's basically just to balance you. It's about balancing who you are and what you're willing to allow in. So again, I always mention surrounding yourself in that mirror-like energy. So that's deflecting any of the negativity that's coming your way. So closing your eyes, relaxing, taking deep breaths in, and then seeing your big, beautiful energy bubble, a blue silver iridescent mirror like substance that's around you. It's actually really interesting how it doesn't allow the negativity in. So if people are around you who are negative, if you surround yourself in this light, you're not picking up the negativity. You're just enjoying the moment that you're in, and they can be negative and you're going to be okay, and you're going to walk away not feeling like you got any of that energy. So those are things that I do. And quite often I send out forgiveness to people who maybe are not thinking right, or maybe a little ignorant when it comes to this stuff. So I'm always sending forgiveness to people, even if they're doing me wrong. That's what I'm doing for them, because really I want them to feel that and get that in return. And really, the Wiccan Bible always says, no matter what you put out there, good or bad, comes back up on you threefold. And I just want good things coming back on me. So that's what I'm going to put out there. And that's really what it's about. It's all about your intention as well, and what you don't want to fall for. So that's what I would do.
John?
Don't take it so seriously, I guess.
Oh.
I think one thing, if you feel like you have something cursed on you, I think one thing you should do is ask yourself, why would you have a curse on you? What happened with you and somebody else that it even caused that? Like, how could you even get yourself in that situation? Because I can't imagine too many people would want to cause a curse for no reason, unless they're just a really bad person. But then really, how many people know how to cause a curse? So I think, it's a funny thing. I think if you're being under attack and you know it's not your energy, if you know you're getting anxiety, you're not feeling right, if it's not the food, if it's not because you're in a bad mood, if it's something outside of you, then yeah, another big thing is ground yourself. If you go out, put your feet in the ground, thank Mother Nature for helping you filter your energy out and helping you center yourself. Gratitude for help without even knowing you're getting is huge too. If you just, thanks a lot for the relief. If you always know and think ahead about how you're going to feel good, or like how you can help yourself, then always putting that energy help also helps you filter out any negative energy. Or that's why curses is so hard, because you only know what you know. If you don't know you're being cursed, how do you know?
Yeah, let's talk about
that's
that.
Why curses are so tough.
What kind of things would people
so
know?
Tough.
Like, could you?
It's so tough.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. That's the big question. How do you even know you're being cursed? How do you know it's not just a psychic attack because someone thought negative of you, compared to someone did some kind of little ritual and this, and I'm going to put a curse on this person? That's a tough one.
It's usually a sequence of things. It's this goes wrong, that goes wrong, this goes wrong. And, it just keeps repeating itself. And then you're without being a martyr going, why is this always happening to me? And blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking, it's just happening by default. But, when things are not going as well, especially if your intention is to get up and be productive and do what you want to do, and everything keeps standing in the way, sometimes I think that's a psychic energy as well that's coming on you that's negative. So, and that's, again, deflecting it. And what John said, too, go out, put not your feet in the snow, but put your feet in the grass. And I think he's absolutely right. It just, the earth takes that negativity from you so you can be clear of it and be able to manifest your intentions at that point. So yeah, absolutely. And being aware of it, not just thinking, oh, it's just bad luck. It's just bad luck. There is something you are drawing to yourself if that keeps happening to you.
Can I throw another thing out? Now, I don't know if this is curses or just... So I'm going to tell you something that happened to me that blows my mind away. Still to this day, it's happened twice to me. I'll give you one example. So if this is a curse or just someone thinking negative to me, and we ended up meeting because of the laws of nature or the laws of attraction, we ended up having to meet because of it. So when I was in high school, I was maybe a bit of a bully. Okay, so I was, a big guy. I was kind of a tough guy, and I liked to kind of fight when I was younger because I was young and dumb. I didn't know what I was doing, right? And I kind of was a bit of a bully to some people. And as I got older, I changed and realized what I've done, and I mended a lot of things. And then this one day, I'm sitting in Pizza with my daughter. We're waiting for a pizza, and this guy in the corner of the room kept looking at me, and I couldn't figure out why he kept staring at me. He comes up to me and says, "Hey, are you John Wheeler?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you remember me in school?" All of a sudden, my daughter says my face went completely white. Looked like I was going to be sick. So I'm like, oh yeah. And there was a whole bunch of people in the pizza at the time, okay? And he's like, "Yeah, we went to school together. I was in your class. We were in science together. I always thought you were a cool guy because you knew science and you liked it. But then outside of class, you bullied me and my brother." I felt so bad. I stood up in front of everybody in the store, cried a little bit, and gave him a huge hug and apologized to him. And I hope that it helps him and whatever. I can't remember exactly what I said, but basically it was a massive release on me and him. I felt it. So now, was that because I was a bit of a bully to him and all that negative energy was built up over all these years and he couldn't get it out of his head about me, and then finally we had to meet eventually to try to mend it? Did he try to curse me? I can't believe that guy did this to me. And all these years just built up until we got together, and then we mended it. And I felt so much better. I could feel him. It was amazing, and my daughter couldn't believe it. She witnessed the whole thing.
There's a lot of strength in atoning and making up for stuff. I've done a lot of stuff in my life I wasn't proud of, and I've tried to atone with those people directly, and it's humbling and it's hard, and it is probably the most uncomfortable thing I've done. But boy, does it move both people past it. It really helps because by you apologizing to that person, it was able to help him move past that bullying experience, and let go of that. Just a simple thing like that. So could that be applied to curses? I feel like it's hard to tell if you're cursed. Because I would think first that it was a psychic attack. I've pissed off a few people in my life that have told me they're attacking me, and I knew they were. And it was, you could feel it. Like you'd go to bed and you would see bad things about your relationship with this person. Or you would go to bed worried that they're going to screw with your life. Or go to bed, I don't know if any of you guys ever been stalked by someone or something to that degree where you just, that fear comes in, that wave of fear overpowers it, and it's really, really uncomfortable and controls you. So I'm going to throw that back to you guys. So where do you think, I do know that you explained, the difference between a psychic attack and the curse, but
a curse is something that they want to happen to you. I mean, negative energy coming your way is one thing. A curse is a supernatural power for something to happen to you, to actually physically harm your life. So this is where it gets a little bit serious. Negative energy just means somebody's kind of ticked off with you or they're offended by you, and that can bring you down as well. Those days when you're sitting there and you just can't shake that negative feeling. You're just like, oh, something's wrong. Nothing's wrong, but something's wrong. Your energy feels it. You can't shake it. You try to distract yourself. That at that point, that's more to do with the energy and somebody who is maybe feeling negative in some way. But a curse is more physically supernatural, come out of the sky happenings to you. So this is where we need to see the difference between the two of them, I think, because the lady who got cursed with her mouth, there was something wrong with her teeth and she ended up having to get surgery. So I mean, that was quite the spell she put on that young lady just for cheating with her boyfriend. But there was huge problems with the teeth. So we have to be aware of that too. I know things just happen, but if they continue to happen, then there's something else going on. Or like I had this guy coming to see me, and he said he would sit at his desk and he would actually see flies walk through the window, walk through the glass. And he sat there looking at me, and he wouldn't give me eye contact, which he looked nervous. He looked like he really didn't want to tell me what his experience was, because he didn't want anybody to look at him as if he was crazy. But he believed that his business was cursed and that he would sit at his desk. Somebody came in down the way in the building, and ever since those people moved in that had similar products or similar services, ever since they moved in, his business went downhill, which is going to happen anyway when there's competition. But everything was going wrong. Like equipment was breaking down, and then he would be all stressed out because he wasn't making any money. And then he would see these flies walking through the glass, and he didn't know what was going on. He's like, should I move? Should I go to another place? Can I smudge? Can I do whatever? And he was just at wit's end. But he knew in his heart that it was happening to him. Not that it was just an occurrence. It was truly something that was happening from some outside source. So we tried to figure it out. He just ended up moving anyway, just got away from the situation, and things kind of turned around. So I think that people were cursing him out of the building. So I don't know if they were cursing to hurt him physically, but they were definitely cursing him to leave. And I think they won that one. And he did leave. So things got better after that for him. So it had to have been the location, and it had to be the people that were in the building as well. So that was just another story that popped up. I thought about that this morning too. I thought, oh, but he totally believed he was cursed. So we need to know. We need to understand it too. It's crazy to do this to other people. Is just, it's insanity.
A lot of people say that you can protect your house from that, and I guess protecting yourself from curses and psychic attacks are pretty much similar. And one of the things I hear repeated a lot is salt. So what's the deal with salt? Why does it work? Why has it been used for so many years? Why don't you guys talk to me about salt?
Go ahead, John. You work with salt.
Okay, I'll give you a crazy example. My mom's an amazing example about salts and stuff. Okay, so my parents, the house before they own now, they bought, I don't know, about 15 years ago. When they first moved in, I right away felt something not right about the house. And I told them, I said, something doesn't feel right here. I don't know what it is. They come to find out a few months later, the guy that sold the house to him got in a lot of trouble because they didn't explain to my parents that the owner's father passed away in the basement years before. So they didn't explain that, and they're supposed to disclose that. From what I understand, if you buy a house, if someone passed away, you're supposed to disclose that, and they did it. It doesn't really matter. But anyways, my mom kept waking up feeling really bizarre. She kept waking up with marks in her neck like she was being choked. My dad never got nothing, but my brother and my mom kept getting stuff. I'd go in the house and I'd feel weird vibes, and I would try to do what I can. But I couldn't really do nothing about it. It was too powerful at the time for me, because this is way before I knew really what I was doing, like now. So my mom had someone come over, like a shaman type person, and what he did was he put sea salt all four corners of her house in a little jar, and he put a mirror in front of the door. So this way, when the entity walks in, he's going to see himself in the mirror, realize what he's doing, and scare himself away. And the salts create this energy field. So salts, because everything's energy, like when you cry, you can taste salt. We're mostly made up of salt. Almost all water on the planet is salt water. Salt has a certain frequency and energy to it. It's like crystals. Crystals are a higher frequency and energy than almost all stones. So that's the same thing with salt. All it really is energy and frequency. So negative energy doesn't vibe or connect very well with salt. That's why they do salts. I've seen them do salts in so many ceremonies around places to try to heal the ground, or at funerals to try to help release the spirit. They do salt ceremonies. So I think it's more of a frequency energetic thing is why they use salts.
I actually know people who have built houses, and in the foundation, they have done a perimeter of salt rock, And then in each north, south, east, and west, they have put healing stones, you know, feng shui or crystal or, you know, whatever stone that they choose and whatever one that they want to create their environment. And then they build the house. So it's built into the house. So it's always 100% protected. And I think that's, if I ever built a house, that's exactly what I'd be doing. Everything would be built that way. So, and big stones, and you never see this rock salt again, and you never see the rocks again, but your house will always be protected.
Now, can using salts and things like that stop good energy? Is it a neutralizer, or is it just stop negative energy? If I want to attract good
I think
things
just
in,
negative.
would it also prevent that?
Oh, for sure. Well, no, I think it does help you create good things. If you've got the negative at bay, then it's only good things that can come your way.
Yeah, I think it's like an amplifier, like an energy generator, like crystals. Like if you have salt in a container and you put your consciousness into it, it can kind of take your energy and like amplify it.
Mm-hmm.
Because salt is a crystalline form. So it's really some kind of crystalline form anyways, right? So again, I think it just has to do with frequency, because if you can match your energetic signature to salt, you can utilize that in, like what Dana says, around your house, or like what happened to my mom. I know a real estate agent. He won't sell a house until he does a little ceremony in front of it, where he'll do salt, pinch of salt over his shoulder. He's got this thing where, oh, I can't sell this house till I do a certain thing, and he'll go and throw salt over his shoulder and say these things, and he sells houses like crazy.
And that's why we take baths with Epsom salts. We suck that negativity right out of us when we're in the bathtub.
Exactly.
And then all of a sudden when we get out of the bath, we're now aligned and everything is much better then. And soak your feet. If you don't have a bathtub, soak your feet in Epsom salt. It really does help in so many ways. And that's why we feel good when we swim in the ocean too.
Yeah, we talked about that a little in the last show, that, you know, as a human beings, as a race, mainly for most of humanity, soaked in water. You went down to the river to get clean, you got a drink, you went in the river, you know, you went to the ocean for walk and enjoyment and play in the ocean, or fishing, or whatever you were doing in the ocean. But you constantly submerged your body in salts or minerals, like, you know, well water has minerals, or it wasn't this filtered water. It was, you know, you went into a stream. Now,
Amniotic fluid.
and what, antibiotic fluid? Yeah, that's true.
No,
Ambionic.
yeah,
What did I say? Antibiotic.
amniotic fluid. Yes.
Antibiotic fluid. Yes, ambionic fluid.
We're created in it. We're created in it.
also-
Makes complete sense.
And also that's how we've been preserving meats for thousands of years, put them underground with salt. So I think salt is like a protector. It can I think on many levels that we probably haven't even discovered yet what salt can do. It's pretty unbelievable. Like, I highly suggest everybody gets some either Himalayan mineral salt or Celtic sea salt, like the vital mineral batch, because everybody's not getting the right minerals. And if you start drinking salts, like good mineral salts, you'll get those vital minerals and nutrients that we're lacking.
Yeah, actually, if you ask people if they drink distilled water, they'll say it tastes strange because there's no flavor or minerals in it. The problem is that most of the water supply is so polluted now that we have to filter it. Is it too dangerous to drink at this point? You know, back in our grandparents' day, they could probably take a bucket and go to the creek at their house, and, you know, yeah, you might get some parasites, bacteria. That's not the greatest, but but as far as the mineral content, it was excellent. Where now, you know, if you live in a city, oh my gosh, they recycle the water, and they have acceptable limits of what's allowed in it. Of, you know, I think they were testing like Prozac and drugs, you know, birth control and hormones. And there are certain levels that come out in the urine that never really break down, and you're just like drinking that without filtering it. Yeah.
I tell you, Taryn, I have so many clients, young ladies, young couples who come to me wondering why they can't get pregnant and why they can't figure out why they can't get pregnant. And you know, I had a rash of them about 4 or 5 years ago, where it was like 2 or 3 a week, and they were spending thousands of dollars to go get tested and so on and so forth. So I was like, there is something much deeper going on. So of course I had to do my meditation, and I knew back then that it was the water, and that everybody is becoming sterile because of the water. And that's what's happening. Everybody's naturally on birth control pills.
Yeah, and
Even the men.
don't get me started, because man, I one of the things I used to preach to my patients about. For you guys that are tuning in, I actually am still a licensed doctor. I just don't do anything with it. But I used to preach to my patients about birth control, and it's given out so willy nilly now. Like, you know, they're going to a tea party. You know, you put a girl on it. It's like a rite of passage now. Oh, I don't want acne, so I'm going to get on birth control. And it's like, you know, you're basically tricking your body into thinking you're pregnant for 25 years. You know, this isn't good. And what happens is so many people are on that stuff, and it gets into the water supply, like you're saying, Dana, that now the men are, you know, on estrogen pills. Because so you kind of have to filter your water if you live anywhere near a city, and then add minerals back in, which... John, do you guys? How do you? Well, you've been messing with Ormus, but how do you add minerals back into water?
If I'm not doing with Ormus, I use salts, and I use MSM. If I'm sure you know what MSM is.
Yeah, but
right?
tell people.
So, I'll show you. So basically, my favorite salt is Celtic sea salt. It's called Vital Minerals. So it's got lots of different types of minerals in it. Amazing stuff. And another one is MSM, which is just organic sulfur. Like, you can only really get this from soil-based foods. So if you don't get to eat a lot of good organic foods, you're going to be lacking in MSM, which is a vital, vital mineral. I literally think this stuff saved my life. I was very sick for a long time, couldn't figure it out. And what I realized is that my minerals and my the counts were really low. So I had to somehow get my mineral count back up, and actually my doctor suggested this to me. So I did some research, and I've been taking this for a few years now, and I feel like it made a massive difference on me. I feel so much better. I have way more energy, by far. One more thing I want to say, too. I'm actually really lucky. Actually, I think everybody can be lucky possibility, because just do a Google search. Where's the natural aquifers in my area? Where's the springs in my area? So when I did a Google search on my phone, it showed me where all the aquifers are. So I went there, I got the water, I took it to the university near me, I got them to test it before I drank, because I wanted to make sure it was good. Because you never know, it could get contaminated. And they tested it, and they said it was really good water, lots of good minerals, trace elements of platinum, gold, every little bit. Really, really good water. And the aquifer comes from 300 feet under the ground. It's about a half an hour from my house. So I'm lucky. I drink straight spring water all the time.
There's a question coming in from you from Disco Steph. Would you now be the time to ask him about hydrogen water? So what is hydrogen water? What are the advantages? What do you know about it?
I don't know too much about that, to be honest with you. That's something I don't know too much about. I can't really speak for it because I haven't done much research on it. I don't know.
I have no
I'm
idea.
not sure if you're talking about, maybe you could clear it up for us. Are you talking about heavy water where it has the extra hydrogen? Like the H3? Let me know what you're talking about. H3TO. Okay, so if you guys have questions, now's the time to ask. Bring them on in. We're talking about curses, but we're also talking about anything you really want. I know we got a couple crystal experts on here and rock experts. Someone did say what kind of crystals would be the right ones to start with to protect you from curses.
Quartz crystal is always good.
Quartz. And
yeah. That's a good one, but I think quartz is an excellent one because it's clear, and if you look at it and you put special lights behind it, it actually will show all the colors of the rainbow. So there's every frequency in a clear quartz crystal. It can literally vibrate almost every frequency that you can attune to it. So I would agree with Dana. Clear quartz crystal, especially if you can find a double terminated one, because the energy flows out like a torsion field. Where a single
What's a
terminated
double
is
term?
good. Yeah, double terminated one, because it's like in a torsion field, like a figure eight. It's like the unity
When you
symbol.
say double,
When it's a single
John,
one,
when you
sorry, go
say
ahead.
double, are you talking about there's two kinds of things in it? Like, what is a double tormulated?
Yeah.
Are you talking about, like, I know I have some quartz that's termulated
Yeah.
with gold or crystal, other crystals.
So what terminated mean is it has a natural point to it. So it's got a natural geometry. So it'll have like 6 to 8 sides and come to a natural point. Where this wasn't carved like this. This actually came from nature. Well, you'll get it on both sides. I have a few of them. They're actually a lot more expensive and harder to get double terminated. So this would be called a single terminated clear quartz crystal, where it has one natural nature terminated side. So that means it comes to a point with 8 sides to it, and this is flat on this side. So this would be a single terminated clear quartz crystal, where double just has another naturally formed point to it on the other side. That's all it really means.
I gotcha. All right, sorry. I thought you were. I mixed up what you were saying. I thought you were saying tormulated, where it has another crystal in it. You mean terminated with the ends? Okay.
Yeah, terminated. Yeah.
Sorry, it's that Canadian accent.
Ah.
All right, Haplock. Where's he getting his iodine? Sea salt like that doesn't have it added. Do you use a supplement or kale?
Yeah, I just eat really healthy. I just try to eat as good as I can. And I got a wall garden here, and I just got it going again. I'll kind of show you. And I grow a lot of stuff on it, and I try to just eat off my wall garden or my garden I do outside.
Is that all?
I'm hoping eventually I get to a point where I just eat where I grow.
Is that wheatgrass?
Trying to
Is that what you're growing?
Yeah, that's wheatgrass. Sorry.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I have. I build these wall gardens, so they're just these tubes that you use for use these for sewage pipes, and they got like different angles in that. And I have a light up here. I have it shut off now, but you could fit so many plants on this in a really small area, and they could just go up the side of your wall. So I was actually talking to a grocery store in Guelph. It's called Goodness Me, where I was talking to them that I might go in there and build a whole wall for them, where people can go in and just pick fresh fruits and vegetables off the wall.
Are you serious, John?
Yep.
That's fantastic. I love Goodness Me. That's a great store.
Yeah, you know the side of the store when you first walk in on the left, the produce part?
Yeah.
That's where we're thinking about building a massive wall garden where people can walk up and just interact with the plants. I know it sounds funny to people, but if you go up and interact with plants and talk to them and just be excited that you're going to eat it, I wish people could feel what the energy is off that. Like if you do energy work with your food, you might be blown away what it does to you. Like your food will love you when you communicate, especially if it's a live food. Talk to your plants. Talk to food before you eat it. People think it's so messed up, but you don't know until you try.
I give it love when I'm stirring and when I'm like cutting up my vegetables to make a salad. I'm just injecting love into it.
Yeah, I know.
That's all I do.
People joke, but I always I kind of say grace even to vegetables and hey, thanks for letting me eat this. And I know Kate was laughing at me the other day because I was like thanking an orange before I cut it up, and she was like, I was like, well, people say grace. It's my form of grace. What's the problem here? But I think it's good to be thankful. And
absolutely.
I think that's what grace was meant for, to be honest with you, when it first came out, is because they understood the power behind gratitude with things. Because that's really what it is. It's just the energy of gratitude. That's one of the highest energies. It's like the next step up to love. Love would be your highest frequency energy, and then gratitude's like right there. It's like right like that, touching each other. So if you give your food gratitude all the time, you might as well be kissing your food, because it's just the energy that comes off of it is just mind blowing.
When my grandmother would make lunch, or she'd make these wonderful meals, and the thing she lived for was her family coming to her house for lunch or dinner or whatever, even just for coffee. But you could tell that she loved it so much because her food was scrumptious. Like you could not have a better meal, but it was because she loved her family so much and loved what she was doing, and everybody was coming, and she was so excited about that, that I can't say that in all of the years I ever once had a bad tasting meal with her. So I think it has a lot to do with it.
Yeah, I really do believe, and if you talk to all chefs or artists and stuff, they always say they put love into their stuff, and they put in. There was a question that came back a little bit ago. Sorry, I missed who said it, but someone asked if a book could be cursed. So I'm gonna throw that, guys, at you.
Oh yeah.
You ever heard of cursed books?
Absolutely. That's what we were. Yeah, because that's just like what we were talking about before. How there's ancient items that kings and queens have had. There's documentation on how if you have that item, it's cursed, and they didn't care, and they took it, and they were beheaded, or there's a lot of things that happen. I absolutely believe that there's cursed books out there too, or books that carry negative energy. Like there could be books that carry negative energy too. So maybe the author wrote it was negative, or someone that had it at one time was a very evil person, and the energy kind of lingered in the book. So it might not just be curses; it could also be a lingering negative energy that never left it.
Catcher in the Rye.
Yep.
What does that do to people? People who've read Catcher in the Rye. I mean, is the information cursed in itself? Did the person put the intention in when they wrote the book that everybody was going to feel the way he did? It was, I don't know. You hear a lot of people who have either committed suicide or gone a little after reading Catcher in the Rye. I'm afraid to.
Let's talk about the other end of the spectrum. If curses are real, then blessings should be real too, right? Can't you bless things and give them good energy to like pass on, or can you put energy into an object and bless an object?
For sure.
How?
Like if I'm going to give a crystal to somebody, okay, I'm going to be like, oh, I'm so excited I can give this to this person. I'm so excited that it's going to help them with whatever they need or whatever state they're in. It's the same thing. It's an energy exchange, and you're going to give it to this person. You're already excited before giving it to them. I think that's the key. That's the part of creation. If you already know your intent about what you're going to do, there's so much energy behind that. That's where all the power is in the knowing of things, not guessing, not having a bias or anything. It's just knowing what you're going to do.
What your intention is, for sure.
Yeah.
Well said, John.
Now, do you think you can get randomly blessed things, or do they have to be blessed for you? Like, does the intention have to go, this stone is for Taryn, this is for him? How does the blessings work?
I don't think so. I think anybody can pick up on it. I don't think it has to be for a specific person. I think once someone puts positive energy to somebody, to an item, it can reflect on anybody. Whether they take it on or not, or invited into them. That's the other key, though. You have to be open for it. You have to, maybe not necessarily invite it in, but you have to be energetically open, because so many people are blocked right now. Probably most people are energetically severely blocked and don't know it. For sure.
Yep. So what is the... what would you guys say would be a way to learn how to start to bless things? Say I have viewers on here that have never done anything like that. I assume maybe it's personal. Like, I use imagery some, but I also don't sometimes. I mean, like, everybody has their own way of doing it. Could you kind of help some people get started? Like, if you want to do something nice, you want to pass something good to your kids or whatever.
I give you an example. So what I would do is find the feeling of gratitude. Like, just go back in your life when someone gave you something out of the blue, and you're like, whoa, thank you very much. That feels so good. Like, that really hit me in my heart. If you can match that feeling of feeling amazement and gratitude, put that energy into the item and give it to somebody without any expectations about what's going to happen. I can't even explain what happens. It's mind-blowing when you find that gratitude energy and you don't expect to have anything back but their happiness and joy or their healing. Your exchange is their happiness. If you can stick on just having a fair exchange in their happiness or their joy or their healing, it's an incredible feeling and amount of energy that happens out of that. And it's very beneficial for you. If you put that out there and you're just happy to heal people or whatever the case may be, that heals you just by doing it. It's a healing process for everybody when you do that.
Very true.
What do you guys think about acts of blind charity? Like, you know, when you go donate money or you go put something out where you don't even know who's getting it?
I tend to like to see who's getting it, who's benefiting from it. So I don't know if I'm great at donating out in the world, but I definitely give away to people who are in need around me. So that's sort of what I do. I don't do a lot of blind charity.
Vicky online says, if a bad energy come in art, well, let me read this better. If bad energy come in art, is it bad to keep it? So I think she's saying is if some sort of art piece, say it's a painting of some horrible event, you know, what is it okay to keep art piece, or is there a way to protect yourself from that sort of stuff?
Well, there is a piece of art that has some history out there, and it's a crying boy.
Yeah.
It's a little boy, and he cries, and it's a really good picture. But every place, every house that this piece of art goes in burns to the ground. But the picture doesn't burn. The picture always comes out fine, but the house around it burns down. So I don't know if I would keep something like that. I don't think I would. And I don't know what you would do with something like that. If it actually, and really there's a lot of folklore about it. And there's been a lot of stories about it. I've seen it on TV quite a few times too. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I would weigh the options. I don't want anything cursed around me. I want everything with good energy, only good energy.
Yeah, I'm thinking if you really know what you're doing, I think it's very possible to clear one. But I'm like with Dana, you don't always 100% know what you're dealing with. You don't really entirely know, because things can hide, like energies can hide, and you don't see it coming. And I would get rid of the item myself. If you feel a negative vibe and you're feeling like, you know what, I don't know if I can fix the energy of this, I just get rid of it. But then the thing is, how do you get rid of it? You don't want to give it to someone else. You don't want to give them the negative energy.
Has occurred.
Like, you don't want to burn it, because
No.
that could cause major backlash. Burying it, I don't know. That's another possibility. I think, if anything, is find a person that really knows what they're doing that can clear it. Because I think that's a tough one when it comes to art and stuff. Because the amount of energy it takes to make art is unbelievable. Just think how much energy it takes to make art. There's so much energy behind it. Art's a tough one, because I think that's more powerful. Arts and books, because it takes so much momentum energy to create a book or art, that there's so much energy behind it. If it's cursed or it has a negative vibe behind it, that's a real tough one.
Yeah, I've got a situation like that where my brother brought me back a knife from Peru, and this thing has teeth in it, like, and it's a sculpture of a demon face with a big horn, and it's this super cool knife, but it is it freaked Kate out so much she made me go put it in the shed. She's like, man, you can't have that in the house. But it was a gift from my brother. Like, I don't, how am I gonna get rid of it? I don't know what to do. Now, I don't get an evil vibe, but she's scared to death of that thing. So I don't know. Maybe there's a way to clear it, but it does look like a sacrificial, evil, handmade knife. I don't know what to do.
My uncle gave me a knife. He collects a lot of things, and he was like, here, hold on to this for a minute. And I took it, and I saw it being pulled out of like a kitchen drawer. But instead of cutting meat, it was cutting people. It was an old army knife that they actually ended up, I guess, when the mother sent their son off to war, they gave them a knife out of the kitchen drawer. And that was sort of the theory behind it. But this knife had killed people, and I could feel it on the knife. It was crazy. But it was actually only a really sharp kitchen knife. but I could feel it and I could see it. I could see the quantum physics of it. And it was not a good feel for it. I didn't like it at all. It was a nasty feeling. I even said that to him. I said, why would you let me hold on to that? Why would you do that to me? So,
Oh man, John, have you ever gotten a cursed item?
I don't think so. I know. I've had items that had weird vibes to them that I maybe set aside or I kind of forgotten about, but I don't think I've actually had a cursed item. No, I don't think so.
Have you
I think I
have you ever moved into a creepy house or a bad vibe house, or are you smart enough back then to pick up on it? Like, it took me a while to get in touch with stuff where I think I lived in some pretty creepy places.
To be honest with you, I've never had a fear of ghosts or being in the dark. I actually, by myself, go into abandoned farmhouses and see what I can pick up on. I actually do that quite frequently, to be honest with you, by myself. I'll go at 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'll go to an old farmhouse or whatever feels right for me, and I'll just see what I can connect with. I've done it many times, and not too many people would do that with me. I've tried, and I can't get no one to go with me.
I'd go with you, John.
I know Dana would. I will have to go sometime, Dana, for sure. I can't get any of my wimpy buddies to go with me, but I can get Dana to go.
Lava Girl has a question coming in. She says, I made a nice box of wood for them painted. Oh, sorry, this is it. I have a ghost box and a bunch of other hunting things used by a psychic that's now dead. I want to keep it, but can't. Apparently, she was not a very nice person, and I can feel it. So what? Have you guys ever gotten anything like someone's dead stuff that you're like, I don't know if I should keep this? Or one of your clients?
Well, I did walk into an apartment one time that I was looking to rent, and I walked right in the door and walked about, I don't know, 7 feet, walked right into the bedroom, stood there, and saw it was the apartment was completely empty, but I saw a man in a bed, dead. And I kind of looked at the lady who was showing me the apartment, and I said, did somebody die in this room just recently? And she kind of looked all sheepishly, and she wasn't about to come forth with the energy, but yeah, absolutely. So even the floor retained the energy of this person who had died in the room. So I knew it as soon as I walked in. It was the first place that I went. I passed the bathroom and the closet, didn't even look at that, but went right into the bedroom because I could totally feel it as soon as I walked in there. And he wasn't a negative guy, and that's why I actually rented the apartment, because I didn't feel any negativity. I just knew he passed there. So yeah, the walls can retain the energy. I don't know, did I go off the question?
No, that's a good one. I'm actually going to go off the question a little bit, because as a psychic, do you actually, when you walk in, do you actually see a vision like you're looking at someone, or is this just like a picture in your mind? Like, do you see a dead body in that bed and go, hey, realtor, do you see what I'm seeing? Like, kind of thing, or how's that work?
It depends on what it is. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish whether or not it is something in your atmosphere where you can either see a dark shadow or see something moving or what have you. But me going and seeing that person laying in the room, and he was passed away, I could see the whole room. Even though the room was empty, I saw how the layout was, I saw where the bed was, I saw him, very distinct, but this was all in my mind. But if you allow the vision to sort of expand, you can start seeing like dressers and bed sheets. You can start getting a lot of detail if you just allow your imagination to remote view it. So, and the man had died there, I don't know, I think it was about 2 months before I had even looked at the apartment. So the energy was still very, very fresh there. So it was really easy for me to pick it up. But definitely that was in my mind's eye. But I do see lots of spirits that just pop around like corporeal spirits, where there's something tangible and you can see them. They're not as distinct, crisp and clear to me. They're more, out of the corner of my eye. They're not standing in front of me where I can see their distinctions. I mean, they did when I was a kid, but things have changed over the years. I don't seem to see them the same way. So when I use my abilities, it's mostly in my mind's eye.
What's it like when you go into an antique shop?
Oh, it's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. There's one in Hamilton that I go to all the time, and we were actually standing there when we were going to look at, I don't know what we were looking at. I don't know. We go there all the time, so I can't remember what we were looking at that time. But then all of a sudden, we're walking through. It's huge. There's tons of stuff, and it was freezing cold in this big, huge warehouse. And we were in the back room, and it was a great, big, huge room with just stuff everywhere. And nobody was in this room, and it just felt really, really funky. And all of a sudden, we were walking down this aisle, and I looked down the aisle at this row of shelves and all different kinds of dressers and so on and so forth. And you could walk in front of them, but all of a sudden, I started seeing the handles, the like little metal handles, start moving down the aisle. So you can see things like that. You couldn't see the ghost that was causing it, but you could actually see the metal handles moving. So that was pretty freaky. But there was nobody in this great big huge room, and I couldn't quite figure it out. We were both standing there. My friend and I were both standing there, and I'm like, "Did you see that?" And she's like, "Yes." So we kind of left after that. But yeah. So I think that whatever was in there, because it was just an old antique store or an old antique shop, there was absolutely energy that was connected to those pieces, and you could feel it every time you walked in there. And then I asked the people up at the front counter, they wanted nothing to do with the conversation I was having with them. They're like, "Yeah, people tell us that all the time. People tell us that all the time." And I said, "Have you ever had a ghost hunt in here or anything like that?" And they were disgusted by me even inquiring about it. You could just totally feel that from them. So apparently there was a bunch of things that were going on there. Because I wanted to go back at night and see what it was. But no, they weren't having it.
John, do you ever get visions or psychic intuition? Do you? I don't really know your background about that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit different than Dana. Mine comes in as more visions. I don't ever see spirits, but I hear things and I get flash vision. So like if I'm near somebody that might be going through something, I might hear like a chatter, and then I'll get a quick like flash of something, like something happened to this person, and then I'll be compelled to talk to him, and then a couple second communication, I'll pick up on what it is. But mine's kind of different. I kind of only look into the here and now. Or I'm way off in the future. I get a lot of future visions of what the future is going to be like, or possibilities of what could happen, or if we make this move, this is what's could happen to humanity. Mine's a little bit different. Dana's more can do real good readings with people. I know because I've had readings with Dana, and it was amazing. Like thanks again, Dana, because Dana was bang on reading me. So. But I've never gave anybody a reading unless it was through tarot and pendulum. But like I say, I mostly just get visions. Like I'll stand in front of somebody and I'll get flash images of things that's happened. And I only get it to what serves them though. So my images will only come in on what can help them or serve them at the time. I don't get too many detailed things. It's only about what's going on with the person that I ever pick up on.
So I do that, and then I expand and I do remote viewing into this scenario playing out or this scenario playing out. I can't make the choice for the client, but I can say, if you make this choice, this is what's going to happen. If you make this choice, this is what I can see happening. So I do a little bit of remote viewing into the future and see it that way, or into the past if need be. But I try not to go into the past because the past doesn't really benefit you. We don't want to, live our past into our future. We want to create new things. So going forward and remote viewing forward, you can see that playing out too. Just expand it when you're getting those visions and you're seeing those little flashes of scenarios going on. It's almost like you can rehash it in your mind and just start picking out more detail as you go along. So, and that's usually, building a puzzle. And that's how I sort of, go about what I do. So it's a lot, it's where you are, John. It's what you're doing and how you're creating it too. I know we have some pretty cool conversations, you and I.
Yeah.
Well,
We
can they?
do. Yeah.
Can he? Like, I'm similar to John. I get visions of, and I just know it, and I can hear it, and I can feel it. But they don't always come true. I wish they did, but a lot of stuff. There's certain things that I feel like you said that there's multiple futures. Like if I go down this road, this is what's gonna be true. If I go down this road, this is what's gonna be true.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't guess they don't all come true. But can I get or John, if we wanted to push this ability up to where like what you can do, could I see stuff or like how do you develop it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you know what? It takes years, and reside to the fact that you're never going to know it all. Reside to the fact that you are always going to be metaphysically inclined to study it and seek it out. And also be okay with the fact that it evolves and changes as well. I mean, how I was reading people, over a decade ago to how I read people today are completely different. How I do it now is much different. And I don't think if years ago I was reading people the way I do today, I don't think I would have been able to serve people very well. So it evolves, it gets better. You get more confident in what is just a thought or what is just a feeling or a wish or a want compared to what is factual and likely going to happen. And over the years, you'll start developing understanding the energy frequency with what is truly accurate to what is a possibility. You can feel the difference. So, and it's more about the frequency. There's something when you just know, and there's nothing that anybody can tell you that's going to make it any different. And you got to stand strong in that. But it is that internal knowing that only you know. And that's where you have to pay attention to it. When it's sort of speculative and, weighing back and forth, then I would just allow it to be and allow more of the puzzle pieces to come about. And that's really what it's about, building a puzzle. You got to build the framework first, though, right? You always have to build that framework. And the framework is being grounded, keeping your pineal gland proper, taking your vitamins and minerals and doing all of those things. You have to keep your mind, body, and soul on a good balance level to be able to allow the psychic visions to come in. So it's all kind of part and parcel of it. Meditate like crazy. Go meditating, whatever kind of meditation you want to do.
I think one big thing though, people get scared away from meditation because they think you got to do it a certain way. But I don't feel that way. I think meditation can come in a bazillion trillion ways. There's no real way. Actually, the best meditation I get is when I'm driving my car, because I fall into this deep state of mind, and I actually get most of my visions from when I'm driving. So I wouldn't fall.
It's actually the momentum.
Exactly. So I wouldn't fall for the whole idea, well, you got to stay in this position or face north, and you got to stand there for 2 hours. No, you could have a flash vision in 10 seconds of just sitting there and quieting your mind. You don't even need to shut your eyes. So I get a little annoyed when I hear people, oh, you specifically have to do this to do that. And I don't buy in that at all.
Nope, I don't buy it either. I think you can meditate in just a couple of minutes and be able to, even just sitting there looking out the window and allowing your breathing to be stable. I think that's a form of meditation in a way too. The really amazing meditations that I have gone on are ones where I have, gone into this transcendental state of mind where I know my body might have been lying on the couch, but my soul was off in the universe looking at things that I had never seen before. And when you get into those meditations, I would say that that's more of a transcendental meditation. That's more of a out-of-body experience meditation. That takes an intention. Doing a grounding meditation and making sure that you're balanced, absolutely. You can do that just in a few seconds, sitting wherever you are, taking a deep breath before you make the next move. It's amazing. But you can do so many of them, and you should probably learn as many as you can to see what works for you.
And also having intent can help too. Like if you intend before meditating, okay, I want to connect to my higher self, or I want to connect to something specific. That can make a big difference too, because then you intuitively will come to you on a good way of doing it. But I would always say connecting to yourself first, your inner being. A lot of people just try to go beyond that. They want to try to connect to some special figure, get answers from a past entity or Jesus or whatever they want to try to connect with. But I'd say if you connect to yourself, that's the key. It's not trying to go beyond yourself. It's connecting to your soul essence is the key, I feel.
Because your soul essence has the answers.
That's right. I wouldn't try to go beyond that. Don't try to go where people pray to God or Jesus. Don't do that. Pray to yourself. Give yourself gratitude. Look inward into your own self, your core essence. That's where the real power and energy is. It's not trying to look outside yourself or trying to look into an outside entity. It's what you have inside is where the real power is.
Yeah, I think, that is something I try to get through a lot is you got your own way to get there, and what might work for me might not work for you. Like when I went to Burma and Thailand and I wanted to learn how to meditate, it was very uncomfortable and I couldn't get in the mode. But when I go home and I just lay down and get ready to sleep and meditate, I can do it all day long. So even the experts didn't really work for me, you know?
That's it.
That's right.
You got to find your own way, but you got to try. You've got to try different techniques and different guided meditations. Sometimes people just say they can't shut their mind down. Well, maybe you're not supposed to shut your mind down. Maybe this is an active mind meditation. We put so much connotation that it makes it sound more like work instead of something that we're doing to help heal our soul. So I don't know. We don't have to be so rigid, and the better you get at it, it's a practice. Meditating is a practice. It's like being on a treadmill. One day you can do it for 1 minute, the next you can do it for 2. It's sort of that, that practice that you put your intention to every day. But really make it a part of your day, because you will absolutely see the benefits of it very quickly.
All right, so I want to bring it back down to, fun fact though, you guys were talking about meditating when you're driving. There's a lot of times that people can reach a certain the basal ganglia of the brain that you can stimulate it with vertical saccades. We used to use it in some neuro rehab in the clinic. And vertical saccades are moving your eyes up and down at a pace, at a rhythm. And it's a really good rehab way to help people for certain things in their brain. And what happens is if you get to a certain mile per hour and you're seeing the white lines come across, it mimics that saccade, and it basically stimulates your basal ganglia. So it's really easy to go into meditation for some people. Some people can't drive; they get hypnotized by the road and fall asleep, or they zone out. It's true.
I totally zone out when I'm driving, for sure.
All right, so I want to pass this to you guys for your last words on curses. Dana, you got 3 minutes to go ahead and say whatever you want to say about curses.
So I don't know if I have much more to say about curses.
Or anything you want.
Just take care of yourself. Take care of it. Take care of yourself. Take care of your family. So, call on the household gods to protect your house. Surround your house in a big white bubble. Do that before you go to bed at night. Pray to them. Start simple. If we put on the task of, we've got to get rid of these curses, it just seems like it's daunting and overwhelming, and I don't know if we're going to end up making it worse. So I think if we could just, trust that we are protected, because we're good energy beings, and, we deserve the protection. I think that's the intention that we can put into it. But you guys have been fun, so exciting. I love doing the show. I love talking to you and John, and it's just been an amazing day so far. And it was good because I had appointments that had booked around this time, but I ended up doing them earlier, so I could do the show with you, because I kind of didn't want to miss this one.
Yeah, a lot of people, I was talking, and they really like you guys. So I'm going to have to bring you back at least once a month to just tackle some esoteric topic. I miss talking about higher stuff. You know, we've been kind of doing a lot more self-improvement, which is higher vibration. It's all high vibration, but I like sometimes just going full speed on it. John, go ahead and give us your 2 cents on curses or whatever you want to talk about. You got 3 minutes.
You know, with curses, if you really feel like you've been cursed, I'd ask yourself, why do you think you'd be cursed in the first place? And then go back in your life and think, who did you have a bad interaction with that could have even possibly caused it? And then you try to mend that energetically. And you know, that's the thing too, is, well, how could you even get a curse? Like, you know, you got to wonder. Like, I kind of feel sorry for people that cause curses, because I know they're out there. I don't know if you remember, it might have been last year when Trump was about to be president. This happened in Canada. I don't know if USA heard about this. I'm sure Dana heard about this, but all over our radios, people are talking about how they're going to curse Trump if he ends up being elected and that, and they're going to cause all these things happening. I blew my mind. I could feel the energy off that, and I couldn't believe that people would come together, band together, to try to create this massive curse against Trump if he becomes president. You know, but like I say, I think curses is a tough thing, because how do you know the difference between being cursed and being psychically attacked? So curses are a tough one. And then cursed items. Again, if you have a cursed item, I would maybe reach out, Google, who out there can mend cursed items, because I know there's people out there that have museums with haunted items. I can't remember what the guy's name is. There's a show on TV about it where a guy has a whole museum of ancient relics and old dolls and books that supposedly have curses and negative energy. So there are actually people that will take those items for you and put them away for you.
Yeah, there's gosh, it was like one of the most famous exorcist couples from the 70s. They were like kind of like country rednecks, kind of, you know, old school, and they had a real success record. They made a couple Hollywood movies about their doll Annabelle, and they had like this whole 2 rooms of all these cursed things that they exorcised that they just had to lock away. What?
That was the
Warrens. Yes, thank you. I couldn't remember.
And there's another guy that's out there. I think he's from Boston. He's I don't know, about a 55-year-old man. He's got gray hair and glasses, and he sounds like he's from Boston.
That's right, Dana. I couldn't remember what the show is called or what his name is, but that's the guy I was talking about.
I can't remember his name.
Takes items from all over the place, and he's got a whole museum full of haunted and negative energy items for people.
But you know what? On a flip side, there was a meditation group of 7,000 people who got together to meditate in Washington, D.C. one night to reduce the crime rate in Washington, D.C. And it was summer, beautiful night when crime rates should be high and should be, you know, skyrocketing. They ended up dropping it like something ridiculous, like 30% or something, just by doing this meditation that day. So if meditation can drop a crime rate by that much of a percentage, I just think it's amazing what we can do, putting out good things instead of bad.
There's a question coming in before I go. Iron J Rod wanted to ask you guys about devil drivers. I don't know what they are. There's some sort of. Do you guys know what that is?
Drivers.
It's a
devil driver.
Item used to drive off evil spirits. A devil driver. You guys ever heard of them?
Would it be like a wand?
I don't know. I've never heard of them. J Rod, if you want to.
No,
I just thought maybe you guys knew what it was.
I've never heard of that.
No, me either.
All right, J Rod, you stumped us. You'll have to bring it back to us.
We'll have to Google it.
Yeah.
Well, realistically, I think you could take any item in physical reality and make it like that. Why not? If everything has an energy frequency to it, energy signature, why couldn't you put your consciousness? Like I could take this crystal and put my consciousness energy signature into it and amplify it out to clear the room. So you should be able to really do that with any item, I would think.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm going to show you guys real quick. I don't think you guys could see it unless you're watching the stream, but there's some curse, ancient ones. I think you're talking about the Italian charms with the horns of Moses. Is that what you're talking about? These things? if this is what you're talking about, J. Rod, the Italians have these horns of Modus with the crescents made of wolves. This jewelry here. That's like an old school Italian tradition. I think that's maybe what you're yakking about. Oh, and there's the curses that I said I wouldn't do because Italians believe in them. So there's the finger curses. There you go. You want to know what those are?
What does it mean when they throw their fist up in the air?
Accio Diablo and you know, here's the Greek people use these eyes to protect them. The eyes. And then what I had showed you, the Hasham, I don't know how to say it right. I think it's Hamsa. Hamsa. Hamsa, this guy is Israeli, the hand with the eye in it. You know that. So there are definitely some charms of historic.
And we need some gargoyles.
Yeah. Let me see if that's what J-Rod was talking about. I don't know. Devil drivers. So the Turkish eyes. Yeah, that's right. They do have the turkey eyes. So I used to see those all the time too at the Greek festival. The Greek festival guys would show it. My grandma always had, you know, when she'd get mad, she'd curse someone. So I don't know. It was kind of lighthearted. I don't think she really meant it, but just angry at crotchety old Italian woman. All right, guys. If you have, make sure you check out their websites. If you guys in the chat would drop links to their website. Also, if you haven't followed my page, please hit the little heart above and follow me on Twitch. Thank you. Do you guys have anything else you want to say before I split? Before you split? I'm going to stay on with them a bit.
Thanks so much for having us on your show, Terry.
You bet.
I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun.
And John, anything?
Yeah, I had a blast. Thanks a lot. I look forward to it. It's so much fun, and because you know, not too often we can have an open conversation with people like this. There's not too many avenues or places you can go and express yourself and talk like this, you know, and without worrying about what someone's going to think or say to you. You know, so I appreciate it.
Yes, thank you.
So, John, maybe we should do a live haunting, and we'll have Taryn hosting it, but you and I should be on site somewhere and maybe do a live haunting of a crazy old haunted barn or a farm or something. We should do that. Are you interested in that, Taryn? Come on,
yeah, that'd be fun.
That is a really good idea because I know there's houses that stuff happens every time I go there.
Well, then
I guarantee we'll pick something up and we'll show people. So whenever you want to set that up, let me know. And me and Dana will go in with some good cameras. And you can do it live stream while me and Dana are walking around checking stuff out.
Yeah.
Hey, I just won a new camera on an auction. So we'll see what it's one of those live ones that you can wear on your head. So I can wear it on my hat or something. So it'll catch everything that I'm looking at. So that'd be pretty interesting. I found it. So yeah, that'd be a lot of fun. We should talk about doing that.
That'd be cool. All right. Well, thank you guys so much.
That would be cool.
I'm going to wave you goodbye, and I will catch you in a few. Who knows? You'll probably be on sooner than you think. So, see you guys. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Karen.
And thanks for subscribing, guys. And you see how the hissing went away as soon as I had to close that? I think it's something to do with Skype. So I'm going to try to deal with that. I appreciate you guys checking in. We are going to go on a raido, check in someone else's stream. But I also want to say thank you guys for showing up and hanging out the whole day. I'm going to stream again tonight and just play a game like we did last night. If you guys want to come in and hang out for the game, I think you'll have a really good time. It should be a lot of fun. So please come on by. I really appreciate it. And I think we're going to play probably late night tonight because I need a nap from last night. It was crazy. I love you guys. Be nice to your cat. And I will see you guys at this raid.